Hello everyone, welcome to Daily English Pro, your place to improve English every single day. Stay focused, listen carefully, and try to repeat after what you hear. Let's get started.
Hello, today's podcast is The Skills That Will Matter Most in 2030.
It is genuinely wonderful to be here. And I have to admit that title sets a rather intense expectation right out of the gate.
It undeniably does. I mean, when you hear a phrase like the skills of 2030, your mind immediately jumps to a very specific, highly technical place.
Oh, absolutely.
You, the listener, might be thinking we are about to unpack the intricacies of learning complex coding languages, or maybe how to master prompt engineering for artificial intelligence.
We're becoming an expert in big data analysis, right?
Spot on. You expect something heavily reliant on a screen, algorithms, and automation. But here is where it gets really interesting. The unexpected truth we are uncovering today is that the ultimate future-proof skill isn't technological at all.
Not the slightest.
As the world becomes more automated, the skills that actually stand out are the profound, deeply human connection tools. Specifically, we are talking about mastering the subtle, powerful nuances of expressing gratitude and appreciation in the English language.
That is the core of our mission for this deep dive. And we should probably clarify early on, our goal today is not merely about memorizing the words thank you.
Right, because anyone with a translation app can do that in 3 seconds.
Undeniably. Our mission is to transform how you connect with people. It is about how you build lasting professional and personal relationships and how you successfully navigate complex social environments across the English-speaking world.
It's much deeper than just vocabulary.
It is. We are taking a comprehensive journey into the vocabulary, sure, but more importantly into the underlying psychology and the cultural expectations of thankfulness.
The ultimate aim is to equip you to become a confident, fluent, and highly emotionally intelligent communicator. So to you, the listener, whether you are prepping for a massive international meeting or trying to improve your conversational fluency for when you travel.
Or if you're just insanely curious about the mechanics of human interaction.
Yes. I invite you to grab a cup of coffee or tea, settle into a comfortable spot. We are going to upgrade not just your vocabulary today, but your entire communication mindset.
It is an ambitious goal, but a vital one. To build that new mindset, we really have to start at the absolute foundation. Before we can learn how to use the tools, we need to decode the very concepts we are talking about.
Okay, let's unpack this. We need to address a massive common blind spot right out of the gate. And I know I have been guilty of this in the past.
Most of us have.
A lot of people, both native speakers and learners alike, assume that gratitude and appreciation are identical. They use the words interchangeably, swapping them in and out of sentences as if they are perfect synonyms. But they aren't actually the same, are they?
They are related, certainly. They live in the same neighborhood of human emotion, but they carry distinct, important shades of meaning. Let's define gratitude first.
Okay.
Gratitude is fundamentally an emotional response to an action. It is a feeling that arises specifically when you recognize that something good has happened to you, and it has happened because of someone else's intentional kindness, effort, or generosity.
So it is entirely reactive. It is a response to an event.
Correct. There is a beautiful quote by the French bishop and philosopher Jean-Baptiste Massieu that captures this beautifully. He said, "Gratitude is the memory of the heart."
The memory of the heart. Wow, I really like that.
What is fascinating about his phrasing is that he describes gratitude as the heart's way of saying, "I see what you did for me, and it matters enough to remember." It is a lasting feeling attached to a specific historical act.
To put that into a real-world context for our listeners, let's imagine a time you felt deep gratitude toward a teacher. Let's say you had an English teacher who spent extra, completely unpaid hours after class helping you drill vocabulary for a crucial proficiency exam.
Yes, perfect scenario.
You feel gratitude because you are reacting to their specific action, their sacrifice of personal time for your direct benefit. It is a deep feeling that stays with you long after you pass the exam.
That illustrates it perfectly. Now let us contrast that historical action-based feeling with appreciation. Appreciation is much broader. It is about recognizing the inherent value, worth, or beauty of something or someone.
Okay.
The key differentiator is that appreciation happens regardless of whether someone did something directly for you.
Wait, so appreciation isn't necessarily transactional. It doesn't require a favor to trigger it.
Spot on. It does not require a transaction. For example, you can have a deep appreciation for classical music. Why? Because you recognize that listening to a symphony calms your mind and helps you focus while you study.
Right.
The classical music didn't actively do a favor for you. Beethoven didn't sit down at his piano with the specific intention of helping you pass your accounting final.
Right, he wasn't doing me a solid.
Absolutely. You are simply recognizing the inherent value that his music brings to your environment. Or, to bring it into the workplace, you might express appreciation for a colleague's general work ethic.
Even if their hard work didn't directly make my own job any easier.
Yes, you are observing them, acknowledging their worth, and valuing their presence.
So to summarize this foundation, so we have it clearly in our minds. Gratitude is a response to kindness or help, usually directed at a person and triggered by a specific event. And appreciation is recognizing value. It can be directed at people, things, experiences, or even abstract ideas, and it can be a general ongoing state of mind.
That is an incredibly accurate summary. And this raises an important question for you, the listener. Why does this subtle, almost philosophical difference matter when you are just trying to learn English?
I was just thinking that. If I'm at a coffee shop or a networking event and I mix them up, is it a disaster? Will people look at me funny?
Not at all. Mixing them up is not a catastrophic error that will derail a conversation. A native speaker will still understand your general positive intent.
That's a relief.
However, knowing that subtle shade of meaning and choosing the right word for the right context is a hallmark of high-level fluency. It makes your English sound natural, nuanced, and undeniably impressive.
Because it shows intention.
Yes, it signals to the listener that you aren't just translating vocabulary words from a dictionary, you are translating complex human emotions with precision.
It is the difference between surviving in a language and truly thriving in it. It shows you understand the cultural water you are swimming in. And speaking of thriving, let's pivot to the why.
Let's do it.
Why are we dedicating an entire extensive deep dive to the concept of thankfulness? Because when you hear the word gratitude, it is easy to dismiss it as just having good manners, something your parents taught you to do so you don't seem rude.
Just basic politeness.
Right. But there is a massive body of rigorous psychological and physiological research behind this, isn't there?
There's an astonishing amount of data. The benefits of cultivating a grateful mindset are phenomenal, and they extend far, far beyond the mere words you speak. We can break this down into 4 life-changing pillars.
Okay, 4 pillars.
The first pillar is mental health. Extensive studies in psychology show that people who actively practice gratitude experience noticeably lower levels of stress, anxiety, and depression.
Okay, I have to pause you there, because whenever I hear practice gratitude for mental health, my skeptical brain kicks in. It sounds a bit like toxic positivity, Just smile and be thankful while your world is on fire. Is there an actual biological mechanism in play here?
That is a highly valid skepticism. But yes, the mechanism is entirely biological. When you consciously focus on gratitude, and we mean active habits, like writing down what you are thankful for, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin.
The feel-good chemicals.
Yes, these are the 2 crucial neurotransmitters responsible for our emotions, and they make us feel good. Furthermore, this practice physically alters your brain's stress response by downregulating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis.
The HPA axis.
Yes. In simple terms, focusing on gratitude actively reduces the production of cortisol, which is the primary stress hormone. It is not just thinking happy thoughts. It's a neurological intervention that calms your nervous system.
That completely changes how I view those gratitude journals people keep. It's not just a diary. It's a tool for regulating brain chemistry. Okay, what is the second pillar?
The second pillar is relationship building. When you express genuine thankfulness to the people around you, they feel seen, valued, and respected. This creates what sociologists call a cycle of positivity.
A cycle of positivity.
Yes. When people feel valued by you, the social bond grows stronger. And human evolutionary biology dictates that they will naturally want to cooperate with and help you again in the future.
Let me play devil's advocate for a second. If I am thanking my coworker specifically so that they will help me again next week, doesn't that risk becoming manipulative? Like I am using gratitude as a transactional token.
If your intent is purely manipulative, people will usually sense the insincerity in your tone or body language. But from an evolutionary standpoint, this is based on the concept of reciprocal altruism.
Right.
Early humans survived by helping each other. Expressing gratitude is the evolutionary signal that says, I recognize your sacrifice, and I am a safe, cooperative person to keep in your social circle. It is the ultimate social glue. It builds trust, not just a ledger of favors.
That makes total sense. It is about signaling that you are part of the team. All right, the third pillar is the one that really surprised me when I was looking through our notes for today: physical health.
The mind-body connection is remarkably tangible here. Research demonstrates that grateful people actually sleep better. They tend to engage in more physical exercise, and they even boast stronger, more responsive immune systems.
Again, I need the mechanism. How does thinking I appreciate my friend lead to better sleep? That sounds like magic.
It connects back to the cortisol reduction we discussed earlier. When you lie in bed at night, what keeps you awake?
Usually my brain running through everything I did wrong that day.
Exactly, rumination. Worrying about what went wrong today or what might go wrong tomorrow. This keeps your nervous system in a state of hyperarousal. By consciously shifting your focus to gratitude before bed, you quiet that rumination.
You break the thought loop.
You do. You lower your heart rate and your cortisol levels, which allows your brain architecture to properly enter into the deep, restorative, slow-wave sleep phases. The simple act of maintaining a thankful mind manifests in a healthier, more rested physical body.
That is incredible. So mental health, relationship building, physical health. What is the fourth pillar?
The fourth pillar is enhanced resilience. Resilience is vital because, quite frankly, life is not always easy. We all face setbacks, professional failures, and personal disappointments. But people who have trained themselves in gratitude are significantly better equipped to handle those difficult times. Because their brains are essentially trained to spot the good, even in highly imperfect or stressful situations. It is a form of cognitive reframing. They do not ignore the bad. They aren't delusional, but they do not let the negative elements blind them to the positive elements that still exist.
Right.
If they lose a job, they allow themselves to grieve the loss. But they quickly pivot to feeling grateful for the skills they acquired, or the severance package, or the supportive family they have to fall back on.
They have a wider lens on reality. So what does this all mean for your English communication? Why are we discussing neurobiology in a language deep dive?
It's the critical link.
Well, if we connect these immense life benefits back to how you speak and interact in English, the connection is undeniably clear. If you only ever use a basic, standard, flat thank you, and you never vary your vocabulary, you run a huge risk.
A very real social risk.
You risk sounding polite, but incredibly distant. You might sound functional, but cold. You might come across to your colleagues as perfectly competent, but completely emotionally disconnected.
And that emotional connection is the fluency upgrade we are aiming for today. Varying your expressions of gratitude is what makes you sound warm. It makes you sound genuine, culturally aware, and highly emotionally intelligent. When you can accurately match your expression of thanks to the specific gravity of the situation, it completely changes how you are perceived by others.
I am so ready to dive into the toolkit. Let's start enthusiastically unpacking the everyday phrases. This is your casual and informal arsenal. These are the tools perfect for friends, family, relaxed daily interactions, and maybe close colleagues you chat with on Slack or Teams. Let's start with the absolute basics.
The foundation of the casual arsenal is, of course, the word thanks. It is the simplest, most common informal expression. You might say, thanks for the ride, or thanks for holding the door. It is quick, efficient, and does the job for minor interactions.
Then you have the slightly stronger version, thanks a lot. For example, thanks a lot for helping me move that heavy desk last weekend. It adds just a little more weight.
Yeah.
And then we have one of my personal favorites, thanks a bunch.
It's a great one.
It is so friendly, very warm, and it can even carry a slightly humorous or playful tone. Thanks a bunch for covering my shift so I could go to that concert.
It has a very bouncy, pleasant rhythm to it. If we move up the scale of enthusiasm, we hit expressions like thanks a million. This is an incredibly fun, exaggerated phrase that expresses a very high level of thankfulness or relief.
Yes. You wouldn't use this for someone passing you the salt at dinner. You use it for a moment of high relief. Like, imagine you lose your wallet in a busy cafe. You are panicking. A stranger taps your shoulder and hands it to you. You wouldn't just give a flat thanks. You'd say, oh my gosh, you found my lost wallet. Thanks a million.
The exaggeration of the number a million perfectly matches the spike in your relief.
Spot on.
Now let us consider reciprocal phrases. A highly useful reciprocal phrase is, I owe you one. This is fascinating sociologically because it explicitly implies a mutual bond of helping. It means, you helped me today, and I acknowledge that I am placing a social deposit in our relationship bank. I will help you back someday.
Thanks for lending me your presentation notes. I owe you one. It builds a continuous, ongoing relationship rather than ending the transaction.
Then we have what we might classify as the emotional rescuers. These are the phrases you deploy when someone really saves the day. You're a lifesaver. is a classic idiom. You use this when someone helps you out of a difficult, stressful, or just plain disastrous situation.
Imagine exactly the kind of situation where you are having a horrible Monday morning. You slept through your alarm, it's pouring rain, you miss the train, and you arrive at the office soaked and miserable.
A terrible start.
A coworker sees you, wordlessly walks to the break room, and brings you a hot cup of coffee. You would say, "You brought me coffee on this horrible morning. You're a lifesaver." It acknowledges that they didn't literally save your life, but they absolutely rescued your mood.
And the other major emotional rescuer is the classic, polite response to receiving an unexpected gift. You shouldn't have. This is a fascinating cultural phrase. It is a polite paradox where you act as if they shouldn't have gone through the trouble or expense while simultaneously demonstrating that you are thrilled that they did. You bought me these beautiful flowers for my promotion. Oh, you shouldn't have.
It's almost a required dance in English-speaking cultures when opening a gift. If you just say, "Thanks, I wanted this," it can sound arrogant. You shouldn't have shows humility. Finally, in the casual arsenal, we have phrases that create deep impact. These show that the kindness had a real lingering emotional resonance.
That means a lot to me. It's incredibly powerful despite its simplicity. You remembered the anniversary of my father's passing? That means a lot to me. It strips away the casualness and shows genuine vulnerability.
Or, "I really appreciate it," which is wonderfully versatile. It works casually, but also in semi-formal situations. And of course, the incredibly warm and enthusiastic, "You're the best." That is usually reserved for people you are quite close to. "You made dinner for us after I worked a 12-hour shift. You're the best."
Now, we must dramatically shift the tone. While casual expressions are wonderful for building intimacy, they are not always appropriate. If you use them in the wrong setting, you can actually damage your professional standing. Let us open the formal and professional arsenal, which is vital for the corporate workplace, academia, business emails, and official communication.
This is where you need to sound polished, respectful, and composed. Let's look at the reliable classics first.
The most reliable, bulletproof classic is, "Thank you very much." It is formal, perfectly clear, and always appropriate regardless of the power dynamic. Thank you very much for your prompt response to my inquiry.
It never fails.
A slight step up from that in terms of elevated vocabulary is, "I greatly appreciate your assistance." For example, "I greatly appreciate your assistance in compiling the data for the annual report."
What about when you need to sound truly official? Let's say you're speaking at an industry event or accepting an award or opening a major presentation.
In those official capacities, you would use structural phrases like, "I am grateful for the opportunity." For instance, stepping up to the podium, you might say, "I am grateful for the opportunity to present my team's research at this conference today." Or you might use a formal declaration, "I would like to express my sincere gratitude."
Like at a banquet or something.
Yes. As in, "Before we begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizing committee who made this event possible."
Those sound so distinguished. It sets a tone of gravitas. Now, for the listeners out there who are currently applying for jobs, writing cover letters, or dealing with recruiters, there is a crucial formal sign-off you absolutely must know.
Thank you for your time and consideration. This is the undeniable gold standard for job applications, pitch emails, or any formal request where someone is taking time out of their busy day to review your materials. Thank you for your time and consideration. I look forward to the possibility of discussing this role further. It respects their schedule.
And what if someone has done something massive for your career or your business? Let's say a mentor completely changed the trajectory of your professional life, or an investor took a huge risk on your startup. You need phrases for when you are deeply, profoundly indebted.
In those rare cases, you need the strongest formal expressions available. Your support has been invaluable is excellent for showing that their help was beyond measure, literally impossible to put a price or value on. Your support has been invaluable throughout this complex transition period.
I love the word invaluable.
Another strong option is "I cannot thank you enough," which emphasizes that words alone are insufficient to express the depth of your gratitude.
You saved my project from failing at the last minute. I cannot thank you enough. That carries so much weight.
And the most highly formal, almost classical phrase in this category is "I am indebted to you." This implies a profound sense of owing thanks, often cultivated over a long period. For all your patient guidance and mentorship during my early career, I am truly indebted to you.
Those are incredibly powerful tools. But we also need to touch on the written word. Crafting emails, formal letters, and physical thank you cards requires a slightly different approach than speaking face-to-face.
Written communication often needs to be more carefully and deliberately crafted because you lack tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language to convey your sincerity. The words have to do all the heavy lifting. Common, highly effective structures include stating the action clearly. Thank you for taking the time to. As in, thank you for taking the time to review my application portfolio in such detail.
Or stating your intent for the message right at the beginning. I wanted to reach out and express my gratitude for. Like, I wanted to reach out and express my gratitude for your incredible hospitality during our visit last weekend. It frames the entire email positively.
For highly emotional written correspondence, perhaps after a major life event or crisis, words cannot express how thankful I am is deeply moving. Words cannot express how thankful I am for your family's kindness during a very difficult time in my life. And of course, the elegant, sophisticated sign-off for a formal letter or card with heartfelt appreciation.
Okay, we have built the toolkit. We understand the casual, the formal, and the written nuances. Now, this is where the theoretical meets the practical. We are going to enter a masterclass in application. We are going to explore 7 distinct real-world scenarios. We're not just going to read them. We're going to playfully analyze the anatomy of each scenario, debate the word choices, and show you how to apply this vocabulary in the wild.
This is a crucial exercise. Knowledge is only potential power until it is understood and applied in context.
Let's start in the corporate world. Scenario 1, the workplace lifesaver. The scenario is this. You have been struggling with a massive data-heavy report that is due to the executives by Friday morning. It is Thursday evening at 6 p.m. and you are drowning. Your colleague, Sarah, notices your panic. She decides to stay late, completely unprompted, to help you format the data and finish it. The next morning, the report is submitted successfully, and you want to thank her properly.
The approach here is delicate. You need to combine specificity so she knows you saw exactly what she did with genuine emotion and a touch of reciprocity.
Here is what you might walk over to her desk and say, Sarah, I just want to say, I really appreciate what you did last night. You didn't have to stay late, but you chose to help me, and that made all the difference. I honestly don't know how I would have finished that report without you. Thank you so much. I owe you one. Seriously, coffee is on me all next week.
Let us dissect why this brief speech works so brilliantly. First, look at the specificity. You do not just vaguely say thanks for everything yesterday. You mention the specific action she stayed late, and you acknowledge that it was a choice. Second, the emotion. You share the impact her action had on your internal stress levels by admitting, I honestly don't know how I would have finished.
Right, that shows vulnerability. You aren't pretending you had it all under control. You are admitting you needed her. And what about the reciprocity at the end?
Offering to buy her coffee for a week shows your gratitude extends beyond just verbal praise. It puts a tangible action behind the words.
Let's highlight a specific vocabulary phrase in there. Made all the difference.
That phrase is incredibly useful in English. It means her help wasn't just a minor convenience. It fundamentally changed the outcome. Without her, the report would have failed. Her intervention made all the difference between success and failure. And the phrase, coffee's on me, simply means, I will pay for your coffee. It is a warm, casual, culturally common offer of thanks in the modern workplace.
Now let's look at an academic setting. Scenario 2, the academic mentor. You are thanking a professor who went far beyond their job description. The scenario, you just completed a deeply challenging semester. One professor, Professor Martinez, offered extra office hours, gave you incredibly detailed feedback on your terrible first drafts, and offered personal encouragement when you were frustrated and wanted to drop the class. The semester is over, and you send an email.
The approach here must be formal and highly respectful, matching the hierarchy of the academic environment. But crucially, to make it memorable, it should acknowledge the professor's character, not just their administrative actions.
So if I wrote, hey professor, thanks for the A in the class, I really liked your lectures, that wouldn't cut it.
That would be functionally polite, but entirely forgettable. It misses the emotional depth of the mentor-student relationship.
Okay, let's try this email draft instead. Dear Professor Martinez, as the semester comes to a close, I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for your exceptional teaching and support. Your detailed feedback on my essays pushed me to think more critically and write more clearly. More importantly, your encouragement during difficult moments gave me the confidence to keep going. I'm truly grateful for the time and energy you invested in your students. Your passion for the subject is inspiring, and it has deepened my appreciation for academic writing in ways I never expected. Thank you for everything, Professor. Your impact on my learning journey is something I will carry with me for years to come, with heartfelt appreciation.
If we connect this email to the bigger picture of relationship building, this is a masterpiece of professional communication. It utilizes the formal tone, perfectly sincere gratitude, exceptional teaching, but notice how granular and specific it is. It explicitly mentions the feedback on the essays and the encouragement during low moments.
And it acknowledges character, which you mentioned earlier. Your passion for the subject is inspiring. It isn't just praising what the professor did, grading papers. It praises who the professor is as a person.
The vocabulary highlights here are excellent. When above and beyond is a common idiom, meaning the professor did far more than what was strictly required by their syllabus or job description.
Right.
And that beautiful, reflective closing thought carry with me for years to come. This signifies that the educational experience wasn't temporary. It had a permanent positive impact on your intellectual life.
Let's pivot away from the professional world and dive into our personal lives. Scenario 3, the anchor in a storm. The scenario: you went through a brutal, emotionally draining breakup 3 months ago. Your friend Alex was there for you every single day, listening to you vent, forcing you to leave the house, keeping you from isolating yourself. Now the fog has lifted, you are feeling much better, and you want to express your deep thanks. You can't just send a formal email for that.
Absolutely not. This approach must be deeply personal, intimate, and spoken. It also needs to acknowledge the sheer consistency of their support over a grueling, long period of time.
You might sit down with Alex over dinner and say, "Alex, I know I've said thank you casually before, but I don't think I've really told you how much your support meant to me these past few months. When I was going through that rough patch, you were there, not just once, but every single day. You listened without judging. You made me laugh when I thought I honestly couldn't, and you reminded me that I wasn't alone. That means the world to me. I'm so lucky to have you as a friend, and I don't take that for granted."
What stands out to you as the host about this specific dialogue?
For me, it is the vivid, almost cinematic emotional language. You made me laugh when I thought I couldn't. It perfectly captures the darkness of what we call a rough patch, which is the essential vocabulary idiom used to describe a prolonged, difficult period in life. It doesn't shy away from how bad things were, which highlights how great the friend is.
The contrast makes the gratitude stronger. Means the world to me is another excellent idiom we see here, demonstrating extreme, immeasurable value. But the most powerful, complex phrase in this entire speech is at the end, Valia. I don't take that for granted.
I feel like non-native speakers might struggle with that one. What does it literally mean?
To take something for granted means to fail to properly appreciate it because you are so accustomed to it being there. You assume it will always be there, so you stop valuing it. Like breathing air.
Ah, okay.
By saying the negative, I don't take that for granted, you are telling Alex, I recognize how incredibly special, rare, and valuable your consistent support is, and I promise I will never treat it as ordinary or expected. It is a profound compliment to a friend.
Wow. Okay, completely different scenario now. Scenario 4, the 5-star review. You are praising exceptional hospitality staff. The scenario, you stayed at a small, independent boutique hotel. The staff upgraded your room for free, recommended fantastic local restaurants that weren't in the guidebooks, and even arranged a surprise birthday cake for your partner. You log online to leave a public review.
Writing a public review requires a completely different skill set. It must be descriptive, action-oriented, and rely heavily on vivid adjectives to paint an alluring picture for other potential guests reading it.
Let's look at this draft. We had the most wonderful stay at the Garden Inn, and we cannot say enough good things about the staff. From the moment we arrived, we were treated with genuine warmth and exceptional care. The surprise room upgrade was a delightful touch, and the restaurant recommendations were spot on. We discovered some incredible local gems thanks to their suggestions. But the highlight was the birthday cake they secretly arranged for my partner. It was such a thoughtful and unexpected gesture that brought tears of joy. We are deeply grateful for the kindness and attention to detail that made our trip truly unforgettable. Thank you for going above and beyond. We will absolutely be returning.
This is how you write a review that actually matters to a business. It highlights specific actions, the upgrade, the cake, so it is highly credible to a reader. But let us look at the adjectives chosen. Wonderful, genuine, exceptional, delightful, incredible, thoughtful, unforgettable. These words elevate the review from a functional itinerary to a glowing endorsement.
And the vocabulary. Spot on. I love using that phrase. It means perfectly accurate or exactly right. The recommendations weren't just good, they were spot on. And they led to local gems, which is the perfect term for those hidden, lesser-known places that tourists usually miss but are absolutely excellent.
It also praises their attention to detail, which is a highly sought-after professional compliment. It means the ability to notice, anticipate, and care about the small things that cumulatively make a massive difference in an experience.
Moving back to family. Scenario 5, unconditional love. Scenario, you are writing a birthday card for your mother. You are older now, you have perspective, and you want the card to be deeply meaningful, not just a generic, happy birthday, hope it's great message.
The tone here is intimate. Structurally, a great family message should move gracefully from small, specific, nostalgic memories to broad, sweeping character traits.
The card reads, "Dear Mom, happy birthday to the most incredible woman I know. On your special day, I want you to know that I see everything you do, even the small, quiet things that often go unnoticed. The early mornings you spent packing my lunches, the nights you stayed up worrying about me, the sacrifices you made so that I could have opportunities you never had. I don't say this enough, but I'm so grateful for you. Not just for what you do, but for who you are, your strength, your kindness, your patience, and your unconditional love. You have shaped me into the person I am today, and for that, I will be forever thankful. I love you more than words can say, with all my gratitude and love."
This raises an incredibly important point about vulnerability in language. Notice the phrase placed right in the middle. I don't say this enough. That is a beautiful, deeply honest admission of fault. It adds immense emotional weight and sincerity to the words that follow because it acknowledges a past failure to express appreciation while actively correcting it in the present moment.
It is incredibly moving. I might need to steal that for my own mother's birthday. The vocabulary reflects that intimacy perfectly. Go unnoticed refers to the invisible labor, things that aren't seen or praised in the moment, like those early morning lunches. Unconditional love is a profound concept. It means love without limits, requirements, or conditions. And the phrase, "shaped me into the person I am," acknowledges that her influence literally built your character and identity.
Let us examine a scenario in the public sphere. Scenario 6. The kindness of strangers. The scenario. You are walking home from the store, carrying 3 heavy paper bags of groceries. Suddenly, a torrential downpour starts. One of the bags rips. Groceries spill everywhere. A complete stranger stops, helps you gather your items, and helps you carry them the rest of the way to your car in the rain.
The approach here needs to be warm and immensely grateful, but not overly personal. You don't know this person. You don't want to make them uncomfortable. You might say, "Oh my goodness, thank you so much. You really didn't have to do that, but I'm so glad you did. You just made my whole day. I was really struggling there, and your help was exactly what I needed. Thank you. You're incredibly kind."
What is fascinating from a linguistic standpoint here is the natural, rapid repetition of thank you. In real conversation, when we are genuinely moved by a stranger's spontaneous help, we often say thank you multiple times in a short span. It does not sound annoyingly repetitive. It sounds like overflowing sincerity.
And the phrase, "you made my whole day," is such a great vocabulary highlight. It is a slight hyperbole that simply means their one small act of kindness has shifted your mood so drastically that you will feel happy for the rest of the entire day.
Finally, let us cover a high-stakes professional scenario. Scenario 7. The interview follow-up. The scenario, you just completed a fantastic job interview for a role you desperately want. The interviewers were friendly, the questions were thorough, and you felt a real connection. You need to send an email to cement that good impression.
This approach must be perfectly polished, highly specific, and it must balance gratitude with self-assured professional confidence. You don't want to sound desperate.
Precisely the balance needed. Let's hear the draft.
Dear Ms. Johnson, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today to discuss the marketing coordinator position. I truly enjoyed learning more about the role, the team, and the exciting direction the company is heading. I am grateful for the warm and welcoming atmosphere during the interview, and I appreciate the thoughtful questions that allowed me to share my experience and vision. Our conversation reinforced my enthusiasm for this opportunity, and I am confident that my skills and passion align well with the team's goals. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I look forward to the possibility of contributing to your team.
This is a flawless textbook follow-up email. It is specific, mentioning the exact job title, noting the welcoming atmosphere, and referencing the thoughtful questions they asked. It subtly reminds them of your qualifications while keeping the primary focus on expressing gratitude for their time.
The vocabulary is so strong here. Reinforced my enthusiasm is a great professional phrase. It means the interview didn't just maintain your excitement, it made it actively stronger. and align well with is corporate speak at its best. It means your unique skills interlock perfectly with their overarching goals. It is the perfect balance of being thankful and being highly capable.
Those 7 varied scenarios provide a fairly comprehensive map of how to navigate different social interactions. However, as any language learner knows, even with a good map, it is incredibly easy to stumble. We need to navigate the common pitfalls. There are 6 specific mistakes that learners frequently make when trying to express gratitude in English.
Yes, let's look at the first trap, the thank you overload. Wait, didn't we just say in the grocery bag scenario that repeating thank you is a good thing?
It is good in spontaneous spoken reactions to sudden events. However, the warning here is against the robotic, repetitive sound of saying thank you 5 times in a single breath, or one short paragraph of an email. If you write a follow-up email that says, "Thank you for the meeting. Thank you for the notes. Thank you for your time. Thank you again," it sounds highly unnatural and overly submissive.
It sounds like a computer generated it, so how do we fix it?
The solution is to actively mix up your vocabulary structure. Use "I appreciate it," or "I'm grateful for the notes," or "That means a lot." Variation is the key to sounding fluent and human.
That makes perfect sense. The next 2 pitfalls are 2 sides of the same coin. The register mismatch. Register, for those who might not know, is the level of formality in your language. One side of the trap is being way too formal in a casual situation.
Imagine you are sitting on the couch, eating popcorn, watching a comedy movie with your absolute best friend. They hand you a napkin, and you turn to them and say with a straight face, "I express my sincere gratitude for your companionship and napkin provision."
I would assume my friend was either an alien or having a stroke. It is incredibly awkward and stiff. You must match the formality to the intimacy of the relationship. With a friend, you keep it warm and natural. Honestly, thanks, you're the best.
And the reverse pitfall is just as dangerous, being far too casual in a highly formal situation. If you are writing a cover letter for a serious corporate job at a bank, you cannot write, "Thanks a bunch for considering my application. Hit me up later."
I have actually seen people do that at networking events. They get nervous and default to casual slang with the CEO. It completely undermines your professionalism. You must use the established formal codes like "thank you for your time and consideration."
The 4th pitfall is the vague "thanks for everything." The core problem with this phrase is that it can sound generic and, frankly, dismissive or insincere. When you thank someone for everything, you are effectively thanking them for nothing specific. Shows you haven't really thought about what they did.
I've felt that. When someone just says thanks for everything as they walk out the door, it feels like they're just checking a polite box. So the rule is always attach specific details to the gratitude. Instead of saying thanks for everything after the presentation, you should say thank you for staying late to help me practice. Your notes on my slide design really made a huge difference.
Now, this next pitfall is a massive, incredibly common stumbling block for learners of all levels. It is the grammar trap regarding the specific verb appreciate. The problem arises when learners say, "I appreciate," without an object following it.
Oh, I hear this so often. Someone will do a favor, say a native speaker will give a learner directions on the street, and the learner will smile warmly and say, "I appreciate," full stop, nothing after it.
It is entirely grammatically incomplete in English. To get slightly technical for a moment, the verb appreciate is a transitive verb. This means it requires a direct object to receive the action. You must specify what you are appreciating.
It's a small structural difference, but adding that object saying, "I appreciate your help," or just "I appreciate it," instantly signals to a native speaker that you have a firm grasp on the mechanics of the language.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You must say, "I appreciate your time," or "I appreciate the advice," or simply use the pronoun it. But never leave here to both appreciate hanging by itself at the end of a sentence.
What if I'm talking directly to a person? Can I say, "I appreciate you"? I hear that a lot in modern corporate settings and podcasts.
That is an excellent question. "I appreciate you" has become highly popular in modern, slightly informal professional speak. While traditional grammarians used to argue you could only appreciate things or actions, modern usage has embraced this thing. "I appreciate you" as a warm way of valuing the whole person. So yes, you can use it, but be aware it leans slightly informal.
Good to know. Finally, the last pitfall, the direct translation.
This is a subtle but pervasive trap. Many languages have beautiful, elaborate, culturally specific expressions of gratitude that simply do not translate smoothly into English word for word. If you attempt a literal translation from your mother tongue, you might end up with a sentence that is grammatically correct but completely confuses a native English speaker.
So the solution isn't to think in your native language and translate on the fly. The solution is to learn English phrases as complete, pre-packaged structures in their native context, just like we did with our 7 scenarios.
Understanding these pitfalls is the defensive part of the training. But we need to discuss the offensive strategy. How do you build a daily practice? How do you take all this fascinating theory, all this vocabulary, and turn it into active, reliable fluency?
This is the part I love, because here's the really exciting news for our listeners. Building a gratitude practice doesn't just make you a happier person, it actually accelerates your English language acquisition. It is a brilliant dual-purpose exercise. Let's talk about actionable strategies you can start today. Strategy number 1, the English Gratitude Journal.
This is a highly effective low-stakes method. The concept is simple. Every evening, you sit down and write 3 to 5 things you're grateful for. But the rule is, you must do it entirely in English, and you must use full sentences. The challenge is to force yourself to use a different expression from our toolkit each day.
Don't just write, thanks for coffee, thanks for sun. For example, on Monday, you might challenge yourself to write, I am deeply grateful for the sunny weather today. It really lifted my mood during my commute. On Tuesday, practice a different phrase. I truly appreciate my friend Carla's patience. She corrected my pronunciation without making me feel embarrassed. On Wednesday, I feel immensely thankful for this online English course. You are actively practicing vocabulary, complex sentence structure, and emotional awareness simultaneously, all in a private space where mistakes don't matter.
Strategy number 2 brings it into the real world, the weekly message. Challenge yourself to send one heartfelt message a week in English. It could be an email to an English tutor, a text to a language exchange partner, or even a polite note to a customer service representative who helped you resolve an issue online.
Send that email. It forces you to construct the language with real-world stakes. When you hit send, you are communicating. Strategy 3 is role-playing.
If you have a language partner, a tutor, or even just a mirror, practice the scenarios we discussed out loud. Act out thanking a host after a dinner party, or expressing appreciation for a colleague's presentation. Why? Because speaking the words aloud trains the physical muscle memory of your mouth and the neurological pathways of your mind to access these phrases quickly under pressure.
Strategy 4 is media consumption. When you are watching English movies on Netflix, listening to podcasts, or watching interviews on YouTube, change how you listen. Tune your ears specifically to hunt for expressions of gratitude. When you hear a character say a phrase that sounds natural and cool, pause it and write it down.
And this brings us to a fascinating cultural point, which is an invisible rule many learners trip over. Different global cultures express gratitude very differently. In some cultures, deep gratitude is demonstrated primarily through silent, respectful actions. You show your thanks by doing something for the other person or by bowing rather than speaking excessively about it. Verbalizing it too much can actually seem shallow in those cultures.
But in English-speaking cultures, the US, the UK, Australia, Canada, that is not the case at all.
No, it is decidedly not. In English-speaking cultures, overt verbal expressions of gratitude are highly valued. In fact, they are socially mandated. If you do not explicitly and verbally express your thanks, people may assume you are arrogant or ungrateful, even if you fully intend to show your gratitude through actions later. Understanding this invisible cultural rule boosts your social confidence immensely.
So when in doubt, speak your thanks out loud. Do not rely on silent appreciation. Okay, we are entering the final stretch of our deep dive. Let's look at next level fluency. This is the advanced vocabulary and the colorful idioms for the ambitious learner who really wants to sound sophisticated, well-read, and nuanced. Let's rapid fire through some power words.
Let us compare 2 advanced, somewhat formal words: beholden versus indebted. Beholden means feeling a sense of obligation to someone because they helped you. I am beholden to my mentor for her early guidance. It carries a slight, almost heavy sense of duty. Indebted, on the other hand, means owing deep gratitude, often for a massive favor. We are deeply indebted to the volunteer rescue workers. It feels slightly more emotional and less like a transactional duty than beholden.
Then we have obliged, which also carries a sense of duty, but is often used in slightly old-fashioned polite society. I am much obliged for your assistance. We also have the noun forms. The state of being thankful is thankfulness, and the feeling of appreciation is being appreciative. She was very appreciative of the surprise retirement party.
2 very important formal nouns in the corporate and academic spheres are recognition and acknowledgement. Recognition is the formal, often public acknowledgement of someone's contribution or excellence. The award was given in recognition of her 30 years of dedicated service. Acknowledgement is the simpler act of recognizing that something happened or exists. He nodded in acknowledgement of their hard work, though he didn't say anything.
Now for my favorite part, the colorful idioms. Idioms are so fun because they paint a visual picture in the listener's mind. First step, count your blessings. Now, this doesn't mean literally doing math on an abacus. It means actively reminding yourself of the good things in your life, usually when you are complaining about something minor. When work gets really stressful, I try to step back and count my blessings.
Another excellent one is, give credit where credit is due. This is an idiom used to acknowledge someone who undeniably deserves recognition or praise, even if you might not normally want to praise them, or if you disagree with them on other things. I don't always agree with his management style, but I have to give credit where credit is due. He led the marketing team to an amazing victory.
Hats off to you. This is a physical metaphor from the days when everyone wore hats. You imagine physically taking off your hat and bowing slightly to show admiration and respect for an achievement. Hats off to you for finishing that incredibly difficult marathon.
We also have a debt of gratitude, which is a strong, slightly formal feeling of thankfulness that feels like a powerful, unpayable debt you owe to society or an individual. I owe a debt of gratitude to the doctors and nurses who saved my life. And the phrase grateful beyond words, which implies your thankfulness, is so vast and profound that the English language itself is insufficient to capture it.
From the bottom of my heart. This means complete, total sincerity, stripping away any superficial politeness. It means it is coming from your deepest emotional core. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for standing by me when everyone else left.
Much obliged is a wonderful, highly specific phrase.
Yeah.
It is somewhat old-fashioned. You might hear it in an old Western movie, but it survives as a very elegant, charming, and slightly folksy way of saying thank you in modern times, particularly in parts of the United States. Much obliged for your hospitality this evening.
And finally, a concept that is both an idiom and a philosophy. Pay it forward. This is a beautiful idea. It means responding to a kindness not by paying the original person back, but by taking that positive energy and being kind to a totally different third person. A stranger paid for my coffee when I forgot my wallet, so tomorrow I am going to pay it forward and buy coffee for the person behind me in line.
If we take a step back and connect all this vocabulary, all these scenarios, and all this psychology to the bigger picture, we realize that expressing gratitude is not merely a language skill to be memorized. It truly is a fundamental life skill. When you practice it regularly, whether in English or your native language, it radically shifts your worldview. You begin to notice the small, quiet kindnesses that you previously overlooked. You appreciate the daily effort of others that you used to take for granted. Ultimately, it makes you more empathetic, more patient, and far more deeply connected to the complex web of people around you.
And here is the ultimate motivation hack for all our listeners out there who might be feeling overwhelmed by the sheer mechanics of learning English. The most beautiful connection between gratitude and language learning is this: gratitude forces your brain to focus on what you can do instead of obsessing over what you can't.
That is a brilliant observation. It fights the deficit mindset.
Absolutely. You might not know every grammar rule, but you can understand this deep dive. You can read complex sentences. You can learn these new expressions today. Every single mistake you make when you are speaking isn't a failure. It is just evidence of your courage and your growth. It means you are in the arena trying.
That effort is a remarkable achievement in itself, and you should feel immense pride in your ongoing commitment to becoming a better, more nuanced communicator.
So we want to leave you with a direct challenge. Don't let this just be passive listening. Start today. Sometime in the next 24 hours, send one message in English. Send a text, an email, or write a physical note to someone. Use one of the expressions we unpacked today. Make it highly specific, make it heartfelt, and pay attention to how it makes you feel when you hit send. It is a dual gift. It warms the receiver and it alters the giver.
And as we close, I will leave you with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder on your own time. We have spent the last hour talking extensively about thanking people for what they do. But think about your own journey as a language learner. Often, learners constantly apologize. Sorry for my bad English, sorry for my accent, sorry I don't know the word.
I hear that constantly.
What if, instead of constantly apologizing for your perceived mistakes, you flipped the script? What if you started thanking people for their patience in helping you learn? Instead of, sorry for my bad English, you say, thank you for your patience as I master this language. Think about the profound psychological shift there. Instead of highlighting your own flaw, you are highlighting and elevating their kindness. How might that completely change the dynamic, the power balance, and the warmth of your daily conversations?
Oh, wow. That is such a powerful reframe. It completely changes the energy from defensive to expansive. I love that. Well, this has been an incredibly deep, rewarding journey into the heart of human communication. To our listener, wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.